All right, we've got some massive breaking news that is great for the First Amendment, great for the Constitution, and not good for the Trump administration because the Associated Press is now allowed back in the White House press room after the Trump admin kicked them out and tried to keep them out because they would not call the Gulf of Mexico, which is called the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America. So Trump was trying to push dissent away, create a chilling effect among other media within the press room and say, hey, look, if you don't follow our exact verbiage, our rules about how you can speak, then you will be kicked out. If you report in ways that we don't want, you will be kicked out. But a judge that was appointed by Donald Trump has ruled today that the Associated Press should be allowed in the White House press room. And I want to break down a little bit of the legal implications of this because this judge was appointed by Trump again. So Trump can't call him a radical leftist judge. And there's a little bit more to this story, but let me zoom out and talk about the broader media sphere right now because there's some scary stuff that I want to talk about. First of all, I saw this post today from Libs of TikTok. Her real name is Chaya Reichik, but there's an account on Twitter named Libs of TikTok, and they're known for being incredibly vile. They will dox elementary schools and say, hey, look, there is a trans teacher at this elementary school. Then that school will get an increase in like threats and crazy stuff. I mean, really quickly, this article says, Libs of TikTok creator seems overjoyed at a report highlighting her dangerous posts. And this is her holding up a newspaper, and the newspaper says, when Libs of TikTok posts, threats increasingly follow. So again, she's overjoyed that she is able to dox people, to swat people, to threaten elementary schools and middle schools and schools across the country. So just a vile, vile person who thinks she's on this righteous path. The point is, the Trump admin is now incorporating her and allowing her to go on ICE raids with Secretary Noem. So she said, arrested some criminal illegal aliens with Secretary Noem this morning. Exclusive footage coming soon. That is just terrifying. Phoenix, Arizona just became a lot safer. Didn't Trump empty out multiple January 6ers into Arizona? People who had committed crimes against police officers and against our institutions? Just wild. But what about this one? Influencer Tim Pool, who was paid by Russia, was added to the White House press pool. Tim Pool was one of the several conservative social media stars who said he was duped into taking Russian money during the election. The point that I'm making here is that Libs of TikTok is allowed to go on raids. So is Dr. Phil. Tim Pool, the beanie dude who was also paid $500,000 a month by Russia and claims he didn't know, is allowed in the White House press pool. I mean, if you're going to allow Beanie Boy, then please allow me at that point. I'm going to ask more hard-hitting questions. But oh yeah, that's not what they want. Or what about this one? A far-right influencer is getting invitations to travel with Trump cabinet members. I think this one hurt me the most because far-right activist Jack Posobiec, who has a long history of promoting anti-Semitic, white supremacist, racist, misogynist, all of the ists in his content, last week joined top U.S. officials, including Secretary Scott Bessent, on a trip to Ukraine. He's best known for promoting the Pizzagate conspiracy theory. He thinks that Zelensky is this extreme Nazi, basically, when Jack is closer to one. He spreads all of these conspiracy theories about Zelensky, yet he was incorporated into the fold and allowed on this mission to Ukraine. Again, the point that I'm trying to make here is that the White House is not even allowing a press corps anymore. It's a curated fan club of pro-Russia, far-right people. It's a PR machine where all of the questions are softballs. Facts are optional at this point because Jack Posobiec, who spreads conspiracy theories, can go to Ukraine, and loyalty to Trump is necessary. So facts are optional, loyalty to Trump is necessary, and it's really the only thing that matters. And now we finally arrive back to the part that Trump did not want. The Associated Press is back thanks to a federal judge that Trump appointed. So Judge Trevor McFadden ruled today that the Trump White House has violated the First Amendment by retaliating against the Associated Press. Why? Because the AP wouldn't use Trump's preferred propaganda language and rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Now that preferred pronoun piece was obviously intentional from me because that's basically what Trump's asking for. So let's read this because these are the perfect telltale signs of an oncoming authoritarian regime. Trump wants to control the economy through tariffs and have businesses do favors for an exemption. He wants to control the media. He wants to control what college campuses can say. Remember, he's been attacking college campuses with the chilling effect. He's also trying to attack law firms now. The White House is suing law firms, suing pollsters. All this does is create a chilling effect. So if I see another journalist or creator get sued, I'll think, wait a minute, I don't have the funds or the resources to battle back against the presidential administration, so I better be careful what I say. And if I ever had that thought, that's when my speech is curtailed. But thankfully, I will never be careful with what I say. I'll say whatever the hell I want, when I want. So a federal judge ordered the White House on Tuesday to restore the Associated Press's full access to cover presidential events, ruling on a case that touched at the heart of the First Amendment and affirming that the government cannot punish news orgs for the content of its speech. I never want to hear conservatives talk about the First Amendment ever again when they are the ones who are banning people from the White House, who are attacking people for what they say. U.S. District Judge Trevor McFadden, an appointee of Donald Trump, let me highlight this really quickly, ruled that the government can't retaliate against the Associated Press for their decision not to follow the president's executive order to rename the Gulf of Mexico. An executive order cannot pressure people to use speech. The decision handed the AP a major victory at a time when the White House has been challenging the press on many levels. Quote, under the First Amendment, if the government opens its doors to some journalists, be it the Oval Office, the East Room, or elsewhere, it cannot then shut those doors to other journalists because of their viewpoints, McFadden wrote. The Constitution requires no less. Duh, the Constitution says, literally the first thing the Constitution says in its very First Amendment is that you cannot stop people from assembling, from protesting, or from speaking their mind as long as you're not harming anybody else. The AP has been blocked since February 11th, so almost 2 months, from being among the small group of journalists to cover Trump in the Oval Office or aboard Air Force One, with sporadic ability to cover him in events in the East Room. The organization has asked McFadden, the judge who was appointed by Donald Trump, to rule that Trump had violated AP's constitutional right, and the judge said, yeah, they clearly did violate your constitutional right. It's unclear how quickly the White House will put this ruling into effect, or if they'll even follow the ruling at all, because they violated multiple court rulings, and even beyond the chilling effect. If we talk about the First Amendment for a second, under the First Amendment, government officials cannot pick and choose which journalists are allowed based on the content of their reporting or the verbiage of their reporting, the way that they word things. That's not censorship, it's called prior restraint, if you want to talk about the legalese. It's one of the clearest constitutional red lines in American law, according to our courts. So the court found that AP's exclusion was retaliatory, that the Trump admin was retaliating because AP was reporting in a way that the admin didn't like, which again goes back to the chilling effect, which I wanted to talk about, which is also legal speak for discouraging other journalists from speaking freely out of fear of being frozen out of the administration too. And that is the whole strategy behind the Trump's approach to media, to colleges, to law firms that they're suing, as I said earlier. And just to wrap this all up, if you want to help push the media environment forward, I'm going to go back to this chart that people are getting annoyed that I keep talking about, but I'm proud of it. It reads, fastest growing political and political adjacent YouTube channels by net new subscribers Q1 of 2025. So in Q1 of this year, the Mockler channel was in the top 10. We beat Tucker Carlson in terms of new subscribers. We beat Charlie Kirk. We did not quite beat Joe Rogan or Fox News, but that's the next goal, and I need your help. All that I need from you is to scroll down on this video and to hit that subscribe button. It is free. It helps the numbers go up, and we will beat Joe Rogan because of that. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you for everything you've done for me, and we will continue to fight for our democracy. Peace out.